Okay, it is I think it's week number 4. I am at home, and if you look right, actually it's that way, they're over here. There are some people painting outside my house. Anyway, okay, let's talk about last week because I have a bazillion things I want to cover in this video. Last week, you were to post on the Flipgrid about your recipe lab, your grocery lab, and your Grandma Waves What lab, and just talk about how those have been applicable to the real world. This week, you're going to respond to 2 of those posts. That's pretty much how Flipgrid's going to work. One week we'll post, the next week we'll respond. It kind of stretches it out. You were to look over that rounding decimals lab. I did not have you turn that in, but I hope you looked at it. I hope you practiced it, checked your answers, because as you've already determined, Hawks does not give any leeway in rounding. So if you round wrong, they're going to give you a strike. You were also to complete 4.3 and 4.4 in Hawks. I would say these are the 2 most important sections in the entire course. Percentages come up in almost every chapter that we cover. I had a lot of extra practice up there for you to, if you were struggling with the Hawks, I had 2 extra worksheets that you could practice with the answers because I know how important those sections are. They're also difficult, particularly 4.4. I think that's one of the hardest sections in this class. And so that was last week. We basically finished chapter 4. And so this week we're going to start reviewing for our first test. All right, week 4, I think it's week 4. You're going to post your Flipgrid responses, as I said. You are going to look over everything we've done since this class started. 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, and 4.4. Kind of the general overview, the topics would be ratios, rates, proportions, and percentages. Okay, so ratios, rates, proportions, percentages, 2 P's, 2 R's. But you want to look over that material and just refresh your memory because this is going to be our review week. The chemistry lab, it reviews everything we've covered. That's why I really like that lab. I actually edited that from something that a chemistry instructor at RCC gave me years ago, and I adapted it to make sure that it covered all the different topics that we've studied in chapter 4. I have some hints though, so be sure to watch that because they're hints. They'll help you get started and kind of just make that a little bit easier. In addition, you're going to finish a chapter 4 review on Hawks. Okay, so this week is the review. Next week will be the test. The test and the review are very closely aligned. I also have some extra practice. So if Hawks is giving you a run for your money, I have a worksheet. It's also from Hawks, but I have the answers included so you can practice that. If you're having trouble getting any of those answers, please let me know. Send me a screenshot. I can tell you what you're doing wrong or help you get it set up, whatever you need. Okay, next week is your first test, and it is proctored, or quiz, whatever you want to call it. It is a proctored quiz, and it covers all of chapter 4. I have all of the details in Moodle. I don't want to bore you with saying the details in the video and then also repeating it on Moodle, but it is imperative that you read that information. It's very important. The exam is password protected. I just set it up today. And so you cannot take the test unless you have it proctored. Now you have 3 options. You can proctor it at the Academic Success Center. You do have to make an appointment. You can take it with me in person on main campus. You do have to make an appointment. Or you can take it online through ProctorU. If you've never used ProctorU, there is a learning curve there. So you want to make sure you're giving yourself enough time on the setup end. You want to check your equipment. ProctorU can be a tiny bit persnickety. They are very, very particular. So like if you're taking a test and you reach over here and you grab something like I just did, you're going to get flagged for that. They are very, very particular. I've said this since the beginning of class, but let me say it one more time. You're not going to be able to use your phone on the quiz. Okay, it doesn't matter if you take it with me, the Academic Success Center, or ProctorU. You have to have a handheld calculator, or you can use the calculator in Hawks Learning. But you're not going to be able to use your phone. So if you have not gotten a calculator yet, or you don't know how to use the Hawks Learning calculator that's provided on their website, you need to work on that this week. Because next week, when you take the Proctor quiz, you're not going to have a phone or, whatever, the Google calculator. You're not going to be able to leave the Hawks Learning web page. Okay, I've got that all detailed in Moodle, but I wanted to say it as well. It's so important. So this week you're going to decide. I'm not going to make you set it up because I know how life is. My life, it seems like every day is topsy-turvy, to be perfectly honest. And so I'm not going to make you set it up this week, but I will say this. ProctorU has to be set up 72 hours in advance in order for it to be free. So if you set it up within 72 hours prior to the test, Richmond Community College pays for it. If it's within 72 hours, you're going to have to pay for it yourself. I also have this week, we're going to try to catch up if you've missed anything. If you missed the Grandma Lab, Recipe Grocery Grandma Lab, if you missed 4.1 in Hawks, 4.2 in Hawks, if you've missed anything, if you'll read my note, I've got it highlighted on Moodle, this is a week that we can do some catching up. I'm not going to give you 100% credit because it is late, but I would like to give you the opportunity to catch up on some things. We don't have a lot of people that have missed anything, but there are a few people that had just some extenuating circumstances the first couple of weeks. So I wanted to give you a chance to kind of jump back on and kind of have a fresh start. Chapter 4, let's go ahead and put that behind us and complete the work that you missed. I feel like there were a lot of other things I wanted to say. The test is next week. You have to have a proctored appointment. You have to have a calculator. I think that's it. So anyway, reach out to me if you have any questions. Let me know if you need anything. I've heard from I've heard from a lot of you on the Remind app. That is my favorite way to communicate, but I'm pretty responsive at email too. Several people emailed me this weekend and I felt bad. I was at a conference and so I wasn't checking my email like super regularly, particularly on Saturday. But I think I got back to everybody that emailed me. So send me a message. This week you are going to let me know how you choose to take your exam. You don't have to set up the appointment, but you do need to notify me, hey, I'm going to do it with you, or hey, I'm going to do it in the Academic Success Center, or I'm going to use ProctorU. So anyway, have a great week, and if you need anything, let me know.